In the 2024 film A Real Pain, we see the story of two cousins as they travel across Poland on a Jewish heritage tour to try and honor their late grandmother's memory, who was a Holocaust survivor. Benji, played by Kieran Culkin, who swept the 2025 award season for his performance. By that I mean he won at all the major award shows for supporting actor. He has a very loud and boisterous personality, but it's very clear throughout the film that there's something wrong with him. It sounds wrong, but... David, his cousin, played by Jesse Eisenberg, who was actually the writer and director of the film, he has a much quieter personality, which acts as a nice contrast between the two throughout the 90-minute runtime. But anyway, that's just a little bit of background information on the film. In this video, I'll be looking at the role and impact that generational trauma plays in the film, specifically when talking about the Holocaust. So for starters, it's a very personal story for Eisenberg, as he is Jewish himself. And he was inspired to create the story and film based off two relatives that he had, who were both Holocaust survivors, who had left Poland in 1918. And actually, towards the end of the film, when they go see their grandmother's house, that is the relative's actual house that Eisenberg used in the film to shoot at. So, little fun fact. But with A Real Pain, the way that it tackles generational trauma is very interesting, because most of the film has a very, I want to almost say lightheartedness to it. It's very much, I wouldn't say it's a full-on comedy, but it's definitely more into the dramedy kind of subgenre rather than one or the other. There is a very, it's a funny movie. The script is very witty. The performances are great. But the way that it's able to do this while still tackling this very dark subject material is through how far removed we now are from the Holocaust itself. Because Benji and David are a part of this third generation of Holocaust survivors, the tone works perfectly for the film. And it's because of what the third generation is in relation to the Holocaust, where it's still close enough away, or I guess close enough in the past, where they are very much aware of everything that happened, and it still feels very real. But at the same time, we are far enough away removed, like I mentioned, to where they have some kind of, or at least it feels like they have some level of privilege, at least in comparison to what even as early as grandparents had to go through. But in reality, it's more of just like, I want to say some kind of return to normalcy, whatever that may be. And I think a place where that is perfectly showcased is through, I want to say about like the middle of the film, when they're on the train and Benji goes off on this huge rant about how wrong it feels to, be in first class and all that junk. But I think just it really did a good job of showcasing, like, the impact that generational trauma and how it is passed down really does. And obviously, it is very difficult to kind of gauge how much of Benji's outbursts and everything are, one, just part of his character, two, part of, like, the underlying aspects of everything that goes on and we learn about him throughout the film, culminating towards the end when we find out that he tried to, take his own life. But I think, like, the fact that it's all happening on this tour, and he was so close with his grandmother, I really do think that a large portion of his outbursts and everything we see him go throughout the film, a lot of it really does have to do with the generational trauma that was passed down from his grandmother and will be passed down to David's kid, and it's just this never-ending cycle with not just generational trauma with the Holocaust, but generational trauma with pretty much anything. I don't know, it's just such an interesting topic and something very interesting to think about.